So this is episode 4 of Hollywood Heat with my co-host Cam Cantley, and this one is a little different. We gonna be talking our favorite scary movies, and we've been talking about doing this for a minute. Not a minute, but this has definitely been an idea just because I always say summer is when scary movies start dropping. And we started this conversation when we started watching, when we seen the previews for The Conjuring. So I was about to say, Cam, I think you was the first one that seen The Conjuring out of us too. I mean, what was your thoughts on The Conjuring?
We kind of talked about it in the last episode, and it's interesting because my roommate went to see it with his girlfriend, and her roommate are really big Conjuring fans. And they were like, oh my God, we thought it was so good. Like, loved it so much. Great movie. And I was kind of like, okay, so maybe it's just me. So I'm interested to see what you guys say because I feel like what I said was it was just kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? So I don't know if you guys ended up looking into the actual case, like the guy that it was actually about.
I did.
But I want to hear your thoughts on him as well because... Callback, what I said was that seeing his picture in real life made me think like, oh, no, yeah, he could have definitely murdered someone and just called it demonic possession. But maybe that's just me. So take it away. Let's hear it, because you've both seen it now, yeah?
Yeah.
So total sidebar comment before we start the discussion of this. We did, and Cam remembers it. Malik, I don't know if you were following the Blaze page yet, but back in October, I did the scary movie poll. And I want to say the final 2 scary movies left, it was like Jaws and Get Out. People said Jaws was the scariest movie ever made. And I was kind of like, I don't know how credible these people that vote on these polls are. So I'm hoping this time around when we do this, it can be a little different.
We need to do a new poll.
We need to sit down and have a group of, which scary movies are we putting in here? Because I was like, y'all said Jaws? I was like, do the people that follow this page, they have to at least be like 60. I was like, because nobody in our age is saying Jaws.
But who put Jaws in the poll in the first place, Caitlin?
Okay, I'll take
Who gave them an option?
That is true. We need to guide the votes a little better than that.
That is on me. Yes, I put Jaws in there. I was trying to be generous for the classics, But so if you're talking about The Conjuring, dude, I think kind of like we said before. I think it had like a good story, like being based off the real case or whatever. But like I think I talked to Cam maybe about this. There were like too many parts in the movie where like little side things would happen, and I'm like, okay, did this really happen in real life, or like are we sticking to like what really happened? And so it just seemed like at points there was like a lot of filler stuff, which I wasn't a big fan of that. But I enjoyed the story. I mean, it wasn't a scary movie, but I think it was a good story based on what really happened. It was interesting for sure, but.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'll just add on to what you just reminded me basically was my thought on it was, yes, you have to make it into a movie. Like at the end of the day, you have to make a movie. Right. And the real story, like Cam asked if you looked it up, and I did. I looked it up before the ending credits even came up. And in the ending credits it had like real like voice recordings of him talking. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this dude sounded crazy. So I looked him up, everything. I looked it up. I was like, yeah, he could have did this. I think he could have did this. And in saying that, I almost think even the people that were assigned to say if it was a ghost possession or something like that, like it had to be fabricated to try to get him out of that case. And to add that to a movie, that process probably didn't look like a movie. It was probably them sitting in a courtroom like, I promise it was a ghost that took him over. Like, no, get out of here.
Yeah. No, and I think the fact that I believed him until I looked up what actually happened, like that's a testament to how they told the story in the movie, and that the actor was phenomenal. You know, he played being possessed very well. So I do think that's a cool element of it. But then, when you think about the real life true crime aspect of where the story came from, you're just kind of like, all right, it lost a little bit of the lust. But from a movie standpoint, I think they did well in that regard.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the one part I kind of thought was funny, but it was kind of messed up. Was like in the beginning of the movie when like the kid was like possessed, and then like they left the kid, and like jumped into his body, like nobody cared about the dude. He's just like sitting there spaced out. And they're all like worried about the kid. I'm sitting there like, did anybody see the demon go into this dude? Like, did anybody see that? And so I was like, dang, if my family did that, where like it possessed
what would
me,
you do?
Yeah, I was like, does anybody care about this guy? So I honestly laughed at that part. That was funny.
Because then you also think about the fact that it's like, yeah, you got this child. You're saying the child's possessed. Kids are freaking weird. I don't know. Kids do kid shit. So it's like, you were already saying the kid is possessed, and then this guy who's associated with the possessed child kills someone, and you're like, oh, he was definitely possessed too. It's just like, where do you draw the line? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, are you telling me that in real life they think that that's what happened? Like, to your point, it's like when you're making a movie out of it, that's the way to show it as like, oh, here's the interaction that they had where the demon transferred, whatever. But it's like in real life.
Don't nobody see it.
Yeah, I was like, nobody see it. Oh my god, yeah. So overall, I'll ask you guys, and I don't know if we did this on the last time we briefly talked about it. What would you give a grade for it? Like, Malik, what would be your grade for it?
I would add. I was just gonna add that The Conjuring is. I feel like the series has done great in storytelling of these real ghosts. They were real ghost hunters, so I feel like they've done good in making that into a movie, because in real life, them people probably sounded crazy. Yeah. So in a movie, it don't seem so crazy. So with that being said, I think this last one, I'm giving it like a B.
Okay.
I was still excited to watch it. It kept me interested most of the movie. The only thing keeping it from an A is like we was talking about, the actual real story. Once researching it, it was kind of just like it like you said, it just ruined a lot for what that movie could have meant.
Right.
But yeah, B from me. What you thinking, Cam?
Yeah, I'd probably say B minus. C+, somewhere in there. Like, I think it was a fine scary movie, but it's just in terms of like storytelling, it kind of lacked originality, I thought. Again, it had like cool ideas and it kind of kept me on the hook, but I feel like to your point, Cantley, they kind of bounced around a lot, where it's like they didn't fully lean into the case and they didn't fully lean into like the demon. It was a bit of both, I felt like. So I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but for me, I feel like it kind of took me out of it at times.
I think for this, for all the reasons you guys said, I'm gonna go with a B, like B minus, like in that range. The only thing that is keeping this movie from being an A is it was missing a Tyler Perry cameo, dog. Like if that was in there, this movie would be an A plus.
Did you see him in the woods?
Yeah, he was standing in the woods. Yeah, he was back there. Nah, I'm just playing. A Tyler Perry cameo. Yeah, I'm going B minus for this movie, I think.
I swear to God.
Honestly, though, that may be what's missing from scary movies is famous people cameos. Because I feel like there's usually not huge names that are in scary movies.
Right.
That's very true.
So
yeah. Yeah, come to think of it, I can't really think of a lot of scary movies like that have been made recently, or even a lot of the franchises that have. I mean, like, you have your Jamie Lee Curtis and like Halloween stuff like that, but I can't think of like a lot of the big horror movie franchises.
Well, I was gonna say that franchise that started doing I ain't gonna say that franchise, but parody scary movies. I feel like parody scary movies get more big names than real scary movies.
They do.
But I will say,
why that is, I don't know.
I think that a lot of the times scary movies can give an actor their big break. Like, you think about it, because acting in a scary movie is so hard. And if you can do it with conviction and people can see that, I think a lot of the times that's what starts to set actors apart. And so maybe they're not big at the time, but they really get a lot of growth from it. So
that is true.
I would agree with that.
Because I'm trying to think. Yeah, I was even like looking at the cast for like Scream and stuff like that. I don't know if anybody really came out of that, because Scream is like my favorite horror movie, like series of horror movies. But I'm trying to think if anybody, because Courtney Cox, was she in anything really before prior to. I'm sure she was, but nothing crazy that we really like.
I'm about to say, I'm sure she was.
Yeah, but nothing like crazy.
No, I would agree. That's what I was saying. I feel like when people get a scary movie role, it's not meant to, like you said, it's a make or break moment, Cam. Like, if you in it, like, okay, but if you make some more of this, like, yo, that scary movie was probably fine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I was gonna ask you to continue on that, Kenley. So you said Scream is one of your top scary movies?
Yeah, and here's the thing though. That could change here soon simply because they're making a Scream 5. I think it comes out like early next year, I think I read. But the thing about it is, I wasn't a huge fan of Scream 4. I'll be realistic with you. I went to the movie.
I was about to say, you giving them credit for a fifth one?
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't give them credit for a fifth one just yet. Because I'm like, the fourth one, I was kind of like, okay, I gotta be real. The first Scream came out in 96. That was the year I was born. So obviously, Scream 1, 2, 3, I was a little kid, whatever. I watched them as I got older. But 4, I went to the theaters to see, and I was like, oh man, like, the first 3 are like, they're fire. Scream 4 was like, eh. And then it's like, now we have 5, like 10 years later, or 12 years, or 11 years later coming out. I don't know how I feel about it just yet. So, I mean, realistically, if this was bad, it might change. I mean, you never know.
So would you say that's your favorite scary movie of all time?
If we're talking individual scary movies, so wait a second. I'll throw the question back at you. If you had to pick,
okay.
Actually, I'll throw it to Cam first because I want to keep. So, if you have to pick, does your favorite scary movie come from a franchise, or is it like a standalone thing by itself?
Ooh.
I'd say it's a standalone, but I think so. But I think like the director who made the film has kind of similarities in the way he does his other films. So while it's not part of a franchise, the director's work is like, it's kind of similar and you can see the overlaps and themes and stuff like that, but it's a standalone. Yeah.
Okay. Malik, what about you?
I would say yes, but at least 2 of the movies that I would add to like my top scary movies once we get to that is similar directors, like Cam was saying. So they have similar things and elements to them that's like, okay, I like when they drop a scary movie. It don't matter what it's about.
Because I'm trying to think. I feel like if we're talking like the franchise scary movies, I probably do have to go with the Scream movies. But if we're talking like standalone movies, I'm sitting here looking at a list because I'm just like, this is tough.
I've been going through the scary movie list too.
Us might be up there for me. Like standalone scary movie, Us might be up there.
Yeah.
I think if The Ring had been like one movie, The Ring would probably be like the other one that'd be up there for me. Yeah, The Ring is one.
The Ring, man. Me and my cousins, I'll say this real quick. Me and my cousins used to watch The Ring. Like if we all stayed the night with each other, like it was like ritual. Like yo,
you weren't watching
y'all trying to watch The Ring.
But you weren't watching The Ring by yourself. Oh man,
dang, that just threw me back.
Yeah.
That's definitely in my top scary movies.
I was gonna say Us is up there on my list, and actually it kind of ties into what I was saying. At least for me, Lupita Nyong'o, who plays the main, like the mother, the matriarch, and her tethered as well. Like when I saw that movie, I knew her from other things, but I was blown away by her. Like incredible, and that made me like a huge fan of hers. And I feel like a lot of people kind of felt the same way about it. So the movie I saw in theaters like shook me to my core. Like that was one of those that like maybe if I hadn't seen it in theaters, it wouldn't have gotten me so bad. But like it was a good movie to see in theaters, and I think like for that reason, it's up there on my scary movies, and also because like I like the movies that have kind of hidden messages, and that is like about classism, and so you can read for days and days. I'm pretty sure Get Out was the one that won that ranking that you did in October. Wasn't Get Out? Get Out was like one of the last ones, and I like Us better than Get Out. So I want to know what you guys think.
Me too.
Yeah, as far as like Us and Get Out, I liked Us much more than Get Out. And the thing about it is, I think I watched Us first. I didn't see Get Out till maybe like a few months ago, almost a year ago. But I watched Get Out. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I watched Get Out for the first time probably like a few months a year ago.
Yeah.
Man, okay. So I was just gonna say, to just add to when you asked if it's part of a series or just individual films, and Us and Get Out was the very first ones that came to my mind of. I think Jordan Peele will be up there as far as a horror movie director, because Us, yes, was 10 times better than Get Out, but Get Out wasn't a bad movie.
Wasn't a bad movie.
So that's why I'm like, if he has to level up from Us now, oh my God. Like, I don't know. I have no clue what ideas he could have at this point.
I want to see the Candyman that's coming out. I'll be curious to see, because
he directs that, right?
So I just saw something funny. I think it was on Twitter, so I don't know the validity of it, but I saw some like headline that said Jordan Peele was so offended when they asked him to play the role of like the smiling poop emoji in the Emoji animated movie, that he like just gave up acting and was like, I'm just gonna direct from now on. Because it's like true, like he's not in anything anymore. He's just been like pushing out these films that he's been directing.
I believe that 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, I guess I'd be offended too.
If it's on Twitter, it definitely has to be valid. You know that. That'd be crazy. Okay, so wait, there's one more I want to ask you guys about. Were you guys ever fans of Insidious? Because I started Insidious late, and I wasn't really big on it. A lot of people were like terrified of that movie, but I was never like. And maybe because I watched it when I got older, but I was never scared of Insidious. Like I just never like really got into it.
I was just gonna say that was my thing, was I didn't see Insidious until I was older. It was already 3-4 years out, and I could have definitely seen if seeing that in theaters as a kid would have definitely been terrifying. Right. Like that was a movie that was jump scares was like every 15-20 minutes in that movie. So I feel like a scary movie like that can't be done again. But what was you saying, Cam?
Well, no, that's a great point, because I did see it when I was younger, and I feel like at that point I was largely comparing Insidious to Paranormal Activity, and it's on like a whole nother plane. Yep. Like it's like they have the jump scares, but the jump scares are so different. Like it's like the ones that actually like, you know, kind of like you catch your breath a little bit.
Scare you.
But I see what you mean, where it's like if I watch them right now, I'd be like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. It's not that impressive. But at the time, I remember it being like, woo, top tier.
Yeah.
Man, I got to give credit to Paranormals now that you brought that up, because that's what I was going to say, is that adding depth to a scary movie, I feel like is for the adults. Mm-hmm. Like that's for when you get older, is the story behind the scary stuff happening. And Paranormal Activity, if I have to bring up top scary movies, you have to at least mention Paranormal Activity. Like that was peak Netflix.
Yeah.
That was peak, you know what I mean? Peak, watch this with your homeboys, watch this with your friends. Like it hit a lot of peaks of its time. So I gotta mention Paranormal as a top scary movie.
I will tell you, one of the things that was interesting that I was talking to a guy at work who, like, I'm not gonna say his name, but he actually informed me on kind of like the marketing ideas and stuff like that for Blair Witch, which I think one of the things that was interesting was he said that like the cast of the movie, they were making like lost, like or like looking like missing person posters for the members of the movie, and they were posting them around random places like a year before the movie came out. So people thought these people were like missing, whatever, like that. And in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, if anybody saw this, I mean, and the people aren't really missing, how do you even pull that off? But to pull that off like a year prior to the movie coming out, I think that gives Blair Witch a little bit. I'm putting that a little bit more over Paranormal Activity, because I'm like, I can't think of any scary movies like in our lifetime that have had any type of like marketing or anything like that. Because that's
to just add the Conjuring. That I feel like that is why the Conjuring has done so well up to this point, is because the people that it's based off of were real people,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that gives it a lot of extra oomph needed to give that story that is true in some aspect, shape, or form, and then make it into a movie.
Right.
Speaking of like real people, the other movie when I was younger that I remember like genuinely scaring me, and it's one of those that if I watch now I'd be like, yeah, it's another scary movie. But the Amityville Horror, did you guys ever watch that one with Ryan Reynolds? I think maybe because like the house that I grew up as a child is haunted. Definitely haunted. 100%.
Yeah.
So then you have this movie about a house that's haunted, and it like the house or whatever's in the house like possesses the dad, and I don't know, man. And maybe it's the other part of it is that it brings in like a real person, like things that involve real people hurting other real people are so much more real, So like there's that element to it as well, and also anything with like a mysterious dock. Like the house has this old rickety dock, and it's like dogs barking and children running out on this dock, and I'm like, oh my god. It's just like it sets it up for disaster, and all you can do is watch, literally.
Yeah. I was about to say, I love that we're just bringing up our favorite scary movies there. Yeah. But
we're like
The Strangers.
The
Strangers next on my list, yes.
The Strangers was literally like, that was a movie like you were saying, Cam, like it just had me scared. Like I could see that being a thing of just some random family out here just killing people with masks on. Like that could happen.
Yes.
Okay, so wait, this is another question. I think I've never. You guys are the first group I've had this discussion with. What is the best book horror movie? I feel like for me, the best book that turned into a horror movie, or just, it doesn't even have to be like a movie. It can be like a mini series or anything. Like, is there a book that you? I feel like.
What were you gonna say? Because I have mine.
I feel like for me, it would have to be Pet Sematary, maybe.
There you go.
Yep.
Pet Sematary probably.
I haven't read the book, but I have the book, and I want to read it. I've already seen the movie, but it's come high under recommendation. Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. The movie was good, but I've heard that the book is absolutely terrifying. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Did you see the movie, Dr. Sleep?
I need to tune in. I haven't seen. I'm looking at the
I have it on my watch
right now, and I need to see.
Yeah.
I have it on my watch list.
You don't really need. I mean, obviously, if you've seen The Shining, it gives you the backstory. You don't entirely need it. I mean, most people, I feel like, the memories that you have of The Shining, or at least like the gist of an understanding that you have, like, is enough to get you through Dr. Sleep just fine. But it was really good.
Mine was probably, I was gonna say Pet Sematary as well, because when I went into I seen Pet Sematary in theaters, and like there was people that was like in the theater with their book, like you could see their book like hanging out of their like purse or something. I'm like there's no way, like
you guys,
people was really following it this much.
When you go to the movie, leave your book at home. Oh my god.
Yeah, don't bring it.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Did you see the OG Pet Sematary, or did you see the new one? I saw them both.
No.
The new one freaked me out. Just the new one, yeah. The old one's not scary, but that new one, man, I was like, all right. I was like, I've seen enough. So to like kind of cap off the scary movie, we'll do this individually. If you pick your top five horror movies, what would they be? We'll start with you, Cam. What would be your top 5 horror movies if you had to pick right now? And you could only watch these say you're talking to somebody who's never seen scary movies and they needed like 5 to watch. What 5 would you recommend?
Gosh.
Well, I want to go with a bit of variety.
Okay.
So I'll probably say Insidious. I'm not sure. There's multiple, aren't there? It's been so long since I've seen them, truthfully. But an Insidious movie. Probably Amityville Horror, just because it's sentimental to me. That's what it is. Us is up there. I just think it's a very good scary movie. And then my other 2 that we haven't talked about, 2 of my other favorite movies, Mother, which is like part horror, mostly psychological thriller. And I know it's highly controversial. You either love it or hate it. I love it. So Mother is in there. I'm a huge Jennifer Lawrence fan also. And the last 30 minutes, that's just like a really intense fever dream. incredible. Could watch it so many times. It's so uncomfortable. Can't get enough of it. So, and then my last one, which is probably like my all-time favorite scary movie, if I had to pick, is Hereditary. The Ari Aster one with Toni Collette and the Wolf brother. That movie, oh my god, twists, turns, like you think you know what's happening and you're thrown halfway through, and the end scene is genuinely like it's chilling. 10 out of 10 movie.
I still have not seen Hereditary yet. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I still have not watched it. Watch it.
Yep.
Yes.
So Malik, what would be your top 5 scary movies if you recommended to somebody who's never seen a scary movie?
Before I start, Hereditary, I'd never heard. I watched Hereditary with a group of my friends. So like we grilled the movie basically from point like the beginning of the movie till the end. So I low-key want to watch it again because I feel like I didn't enjoy it in that aspect of like actually watching it.
And it's interesting.
So I'm gonna have to go back because my thoughts of it.
I was just gonna say it's interesting because a lot of the movie is shock factor. So it's like it'd be interesting if you went back and watched it again, kind of knowing like the gist of what happens, how it is. But I loved it. So
I'm gonna have to tune back in. But if I had to do a top 5, I'm gonna have to do The Ring.
Okay.
Is definitely in my top 5. Like I just feel like that has to be mentioned at least somewhere. Paranormal Activity, the first one, has to be in that list. Especially if it's somebody who never seen a scary movie. Hey, here's a scary movie if it looked like you and your boy made one. Right? This is what it would look like. Us, I would add Us into it. Just because completely original plot line, all that. We haven't brought up Halloween. I don't understand why we haven't brought up none of the Halloween. I don't know which Halloween I would recommend.
I was gonna ask if there's a specific one. I just remember
nah, there isn't. Just because they all have things that are good and things that are bad. Yeah. So it's just whatever one you feel like watching. But I just feel like that whole plot line and that whole like universe they built around Michael Myers is lit. Yeah. So I feel like that's a cool thing. So then 5 Strangers, man. All of them. Every single Strangers movie, man. Just watch them and be worried about if your neighbors are murderers. That's basically True. That's it. So what you thinking, Cantley?
Okay, so I think I have my list set. So I definitely would have Us in there. I'm gonna go The Ring. The Ring will be in there. Probably Scream 2. Have you guys ever seen Sinister?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Where they had the little kids got like possessed or something like that. Yeah.
I think the first Sinister movie it's cringy. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, this dude's coming to get me. Because I'll be real, when I used to watch that movie, my cousins were like little, and I was like, last thing I need is for some dude to like possess one of my cousins and be like, oh, and I'm like, that's the last thing I ever want to deal with. And then I'm just like, nah. And the last movie, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's actually 2 of these. Have you guys seen The Collection or The Collector?
Oh. Wait. If I'm right, it was a dude that lived in the basement, or it was like they found out somebody lived in the house or something like that? He sets
all the booby traps over the house and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. That's a fire movie.
And I'll be real with you. The reason why, and the value of this should not be sentimental, but it is. So there was this girl I used to talk to, like late high school, who like I watched that movie with her, and she thought I was a devil worshiper because I like scary movies. So she broke up with me. Yeah, she broke up with me because she thought I worshiped Satan, and I'm like, nah, man, I just like this movie. So like, yeah, it actually ended a relationship for me. Yeah,
that is insane. I'm so glad you shared that story.
Yeah, so because that movie ended one of my relationships, it has to be in my top 5 scary movies all time.
Kind of a sick way to get dumb.
That's a great.
It's a sick way to get dumb, but I was about it. I was like, hey, like, you know? Ooh. Ooh. I was like, bet.
That is hilarious. One movie nobody has brought up in this whole conversation is the Saw series.
I was gonna ask, yeah.
Do you guys care much for the Saw series? I still haven't even seen the new one, so
I haven't either.
I think I've seen like bits and pieces. I honestly don't know if I've sat down and seen the movie in one sitting in its entirety, like any of them. But I mean, like they seem like a good scary movie.
For people who don't like blood, for people who don't like gore and stuff like that, it's like the perfect movie for them to be scared of. But like if you're like numb to a lot of that stuff, especially like speaking in like movie terms, then it doesn't really do much. But I think the one that they just dropped, I think they're basically trying to add, like we was just saying, more story, more depth to just being just a gory, scary movie. So I wouldn't rank it high in mine, but I mean Saw has literally lasted for 20 years now.
It's been around forever.
So.
Yeah, I think I stopped paying attention kind of after like the 3D one that they did like 10 years ago maybe. So I mean, I probably got like 4 or 5 into it. I was kind of like, anymore. Like you can only cut up people so much and do a bunch of like booby traps, and I'm kind of like, yeah, it's cool, you know. So yeah, but it's definitely up there. I think the Saw definitely has. Yeah, another day, another person falling onto the heroin needles. Like, all right, cool. I was just like, whatever. Yeah. But tragic.
So I think that would probably sum up our. I feel like this is just the cusp of our scary movie conversation because it's still early in the summer. There's more scary movies to drop, and I feel like this will definitely be something we'll have to always go back to and reevaluate our top scary movies.
This conversation like unearthed so many memories of movies that I had that I entirely forgot about.
I think during October again, we should do the polls again. We do it all. We run it all month long. Month long.
Perfect. Yep.
And please, you guys help me pick the choices this time. I'm not putting Jaws on there again.
I swear to God,
not doing it.
Yes.
Not doing it.
Burning champ.
We're turning champ Jaws. Nope.
We should honestly though, Cam. We should add it as like the underdog.
A boxing ring graphic with
we're literally gonna rank Jaws as like the 31 seed. It's gonna be like 31 out of 32. It's going towards the very bottom.
And
the returning champs are gonna be.
It's gonna make it.
That's crazy to me. That is crazy. Jesus.
That's exciting. That's exciting. So yeah, let's mark it down for October. We're gonna redo this again.
Yep.
Let's talk about scary movies, and we're gonna have a good poll this time.
Yes.
A good healthy poll of scary movies that we all like and love.
Public have better opinions this time around.
Yes, please.
Yes.
We want to hear your
better
opinions,
ones.
but also make them good.
Yes.
Right.
So, all right. Before we go, have we been watching Loki?
Yeah.
I don't believe Malik has, but Cantley, are you caught up?
I haven't.
Yes, I am actually. And so, like we talked in our group message, Malik said he needs to be convinced to watch it. And I told you prior to this, I said, what I tell you might not convince you to watch it, but it might convince you to watch it. So after every episode, I've had to go read about what's going on. I will sit there and watch it for 50 minutes, and then I have to go read about what just happened. And I'm sitting here like, 'cause there's so much going on in it. So I'm just like, let me make sure like I got this right. Like, is this right? Whatever. So, but I do like things that are like that though, where you have to go read. I mean, and try to like understand, find little nuggets that are kind of hidden throughout the shows and stuff like that. So I mean, for that reason, I do like it. I mean, I think it's pretty good. But Cam, what were your thoughts on it?
All right.
So, unsurprisingly, I've been a huge fan of Loki. Like, basically anything that Marvel puts out, I'll be like, take it. Yes, thank you very much. But I do really like this series, and I feel like this is the one that like a lot of people also really like. Like some of the other ones, people had iffy opinions of WandaVision, and some people didn't like Falcon and Winter Soldier. But this is one like everyone who I have heard of who's watched it has loved it. I think it's a really cool idea, and I think they're really pulling back to old MCU moments. Like there's a moment where you get reference to basically everywhere that the Avengers went, everywhere in the 9 realms, you know, like it's a lot of cool moments like that make you think like, ooh, where are they going with this? How could this change what happened in Endgame and all that? And there was a really cool moment in the 3rd episode. If you do end up watching it, Cantley, I know you've seen it. The last part where they're like running through that town. I don't know if you noticed it, but it's like all one shot and the camera's like circling them and it's like a whole action scene, chase scene. I thought that was really cool. So little moments like that have me like, yes, thank you. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that the lead director is a woman. I want to say costume designer is a woman. The music is all produced by a woman. Like it is a phenomenal group of women heading this project. So I think that's also cool that it is so well liked, and they're the ones behind it. That adds a whole nother layer to it as well, at least for me.
Yeah. Let me ask. So you were just saying like Winter Soldier was WandaVision was is Loki like their version of learning from what those shows didn't do? Or would you just say it's just a completely different like aspect to it? Like this is the start of something right for their TV shows.
I think, in my opinion, I think people didn't like WandaVision because of the first 3 episodes, you know, where it was slower, but that was the design of the show, you know what I mean? And if you don't like understand that, then you're not going to understand it, you're not going to like it. So I think that's largely a reason for WandaVision. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I genuinely think a lot of people had a problem talking about the fact that a black man being Captain America would have that effect. You know what I mean? Like everything that he went through, I don't think people liked admitting that is the state of our country and that's what would really happen in that scenario. So I think that's what took Falcon and Winter Soldier down a few notches. Also, it was much more just like a few like Captain America mini movies. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, but I think Loki is sort of where the MCU is and is going entirely wrapped up into one. And also people just find Loki very endearing. He's a great character. And he is great in the series. So I think a combination of it being him and all the discussions of, you know, past movies and people realizing, oh, maybe this means that like Steve Rogers and Tony Stark can come back. I think maybe that's getting people excited as well, because it's a lot of callback to like, you know, those who have died and the big events that have happened. So that's my take on it, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'll be real with you. It's funny you talked about WandaVision in the first couple episodes, because I remember we talked at work about the first couple episodes of WandaVision, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of boring, like whatever. But then, you know, as I kept watching, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of good. And, you know, Loki, I haven't felt that way about any of the episodes. Even like episode 1 of Loki, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of like, this is crazy. And then episode 2, I'm like, oh, like you actually had me invested. In 3, it was good. So I'm actually all into it. I think from all 3 of them that I've watched, like I think Loki might be my favorite one. Like so far, like 3 episodes, it might be my favorite one. And like I said, I mean, you have to go, like some stuff you have to go read about. Yeah, I mean, like it's interesting. Like we've talked about, you know, things having layers to them, and they get your mind thinking in different directions. So that's why I like Loki a lot too. I'm just like, you know, I think it's good. I like it a lot.
I was about to ask, did they drop? So they're not dropping all the episodes at once, right?
It's once a week.
Wednesday, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
On Wednesdays.
Which I did see a funny. I think it was a TikTok about it, where it was like the Marvel Roundtable. They're like, all right, guys, how can we boost views for Loki? And it's like, more diversity? No, not that. And it's like all these things, and it's like, put it on Wednesdays. Yo.
Yeah.
That's it. And look, it worked.
They got me coming back. Me coming back next week.
They're saying that's Netflix's problem with shows, because I don't know if you guys been seeing the controversy with Netflix canceling all of these shows after one season. And they're saying their biggest flaw was that they just would release the whole series at once. And they say when you drop an episode and you give it time, the hype basically helps your views throughout the season.
That makes sense, yeah.
And that makes complete sense.
does definitely.
Yeah, I hope you will watch Loki, Malik. And the other thing we got coming up is Black Widow 2 weeks from yesterday. So next time we talk, we will have hopefully all seen it because I know I'm in the chat with a bunch of Scarlett Johansson fans. So
for the audience listening to the podcast too, I'm also sitting here with my fist up in the air because anybody who knows me personally knows my love for Scarlett Johansson.
Well, anything else, guys? We talked about a lot of stuff.
I know.
Yeah, I was about to say this was a great conversation.
Very enlightening.
This was nice.
The scary movie discussion could honestly go on like forever because there's so many that we missed that we didn't talk about. But so it's just like, and like you said, summer's like prime scary movie time, and then as we get closer to the fall months, I mean, we'll have the tournament and stuff, so we'll definitely be talking more scary movies. And Marvel has a lot of stuff coming up too. So these are two discussions that'll definitely continue as we keep doing this. So for sure,
leading into the tournament, we definitely should get people that are following their takes on their top scary movies to see if they can amount to the ones that we're already bringing to the table, because I know there's some out there we have 100% about. For sure.
Yeah, and if your list doesn't amount to any of ours, then don't listen to this podcast because I'm just playing. Say nobody's list is as good as ours. No, I'm just playing. So,
somebody gonna be like Jaws 2?
I'll be like, no.
Let me get Sharknado in the chat.
No. If they did that, I will block them. I personally block you. If it's Sharknado or any of that nonsense, nah. Nobody's takes are as bad as mine. Dude. We can't have a take worse than mine.
Imagine if Tyler Perry was in Sharknado.
Oh,
it would probably be a lot better.
Yeah,
more people would have probably
talking. Now we're talking.
It'd be better than Halloween if Tyler Perry was in Sharknado. I'd watch it every day.
All right, y'all. Well, I'm feeling good. Anything else you'd like to add, boys?
Yeah.
No, man. I think
that's it. That's the end of episode 4. Any last words before we end this?
Thank you, Chef.
Nope. Yep. Yeah, thank you guys. And we will see you guys next time on episode 5 of Hollywood Heat coming up, making progress here.
Woo.
Yep.